Tonight I want to talk to you about this really cool Ochaco deck that I made basically by taking the Clash deck, opening one box of Jetburn and one pre-release kit, and I only used cards from the box and the pre-release kit to make the Clash deck a lot better. I then took this Ochaco deck to locals and actually did really well, and it did not feel like it was behind everybody else's decks at all. This character is just a really strong character, and she has a lot of support cards within Jetburn to make the deck better. Before I jump into the deck profile though, let me just point out the playmat that I have with me today is the Let's Talk UVS Merry Christmas playmat, and this playmat can be yours. I ordered 5 of these. I ordered 1 for me and 4 for the top 4 of the Winter Clash. Now, I made a video last week announcing the Winter Clash. It's going to be the premier non-official event of the year. It is going to be webcam. It is going to be December 16th, and Tam Cardwell and I will be commentating it and streaming the entire event on Tam's Twitch. It's going to be 6 rounds of Swiss, top cut to top 8. There's going to be cash prizes. We're going to be giving away 2 cases of Jetburn, and the top 4 people are going to be getting this playmat. You can see that it's stitched edging. It just feels really premium. We have this nice, like, what do you call this? You know, the padding that makes it not move when you play. But it feels really nice. I love the way it came out. I think the playmat artist did a great job. He left his little signature here, and he does a lot of work. He promotes himself on the Facebook page for the Universus discussion group page. Absolutely go check him out if you haven't yet. But that's enough about the playmat. We already have 29 people signed up for the Winter Clash, so if you have not signed up yet, go ahead and sign up. I'm hoping that we hit 100 players, but honestly, anything over 50 is going to make for an incredible event. So without further ado, let's jump into the Ochaco deck. So Ochaco as a character loves high attacks. Flip a foundation, your high attack gets 3 speed and 3 damage. And then she can respond after your charge or high attack deals damage, ready a face down. And then after her second attack, she can unflip a foundation. So she gets to respond multiple times during the turn. She gets to unflip one thing basically per turn, solving the problem of having a face down stage. And she loves high attacks. That's the main downside of this character, is that she's very gated into high attacks, and so your rivals will always know to hold their high blocks. The benefit of this character is she's adding so many stats that it doesn't matter that your opponent's going to be holding their high blocks. Now, the first thing I did to improve the deck was I removed most of the non-high attacks from her Clash deck, and you'd be surprised, but there were quite a few non-high attacks. So I removed almost all of them, and I'll just go into my attacks one at a time. So let's put the character down over here. My first attack that I added in was Titan Cliff, and this art is a little bit dark, so it's hard to see. But this is a 6 diff that doesn't really play as a 6 diff because of this bottom enhance. You may build 1 card with a value of 6 from your hand or discard pile. And then because we're running Titan Cliff, I added in 4 copies of number 10 Pro Hero. Now this is a blank 0 diff foundation, but it checks a 6 and it has a 1 high block. We're going to see why this having a 1 high block is such a big deal in just a little bit. But basically with Titan Cliff, we're going to be building this in, which makes Titan Cliff a pseudo 5 difficulty attack instead of a 6 difficulty. From the Ochaco's kit, we're also playing Quirk Expertise, which is also a 6 check, and we're playing 3 copies of that. And so we have 7 copies of cards to build in. We're pretty much always going to be building in a foundation, which makes this a 5 difficulty attack, 5 high 6, that says discard 3 and draw 3. That's pretty insane. That's going to give this deck a lot of draw power. We're going to be flipping something to make this an 8 high 6, a very strong string starter. Let's put that over there. And our next 6 diff that we're playing is 0 Gravity Rush. Now this came from the Clash deck itself, 0 high 4, but it's got this top enhance, change the attack speed to match its damage, and we're also going to get to draw. So this is another 6 diff that draws. It's going to be a 7 high 7 in Ochaco. Feels really nice. So between Titan Cliff and 0 Gravity Rush, we are getting quite a bit of draw on this character. Now, I couldn't take out all the non-high attacks, so I am running 2 of her ultra rare Zero Gravity, but this comes in handy big time, just getting to ready 2 face down foundations. So if you have a momentum, basically this is a 3 difficulty attack, and then it's giving 3 damage to your next charge. And we do have a way. Remember I showed Quirk Expertise that we're running several of those, and this says commit, change this attack zone to high. It gets +2 damage. So we have a way, if we have that on stage, like if we build that in with the Titan Cliff and then go into a Zero Gravity, we can make this a high, and then we can give the stats with Ochaco. Now, the next card that I brought in, not part of the Clash deck, was 4 copies of Flash Fire Fist Hellspider. Now, this just seemed obvious. It has great synergy with this character. 3 high 6, so you're going to be able to give it stats. You're going to mill 2, and then everything's going to be getting a speed. If you cycled, everything's also getting a damage. So it's a 4 high 6. If you need the speed, you'll make it a 7 high 6. If you need the damage, you'll make it a 4 high 9. Just an insane common. And so we are running that at a 4x. If you can't tell, we're running this on Earth. The next attack is also not part of the Clash deck. I brought in Ryukyu's kit, and we're playing 3 copies of Dragon Dive. It's basically just a 4 diff, 6 high 4, 1 high block. There is no text on this card, but it's overstatted for a 4 diff. That's 10 stats on the 4 diff. That's pretty solid 2.5 stats per difficulty. And it's a high attack, so it's going to allow us to flip. We can make this a 6 high 7. It just feels really nice, and that high block is going to come in handy. You'll see why. All right. Now, we have 3 copies of Swift Direct coming from the Clash deck, 4 mid 4, but if there's another charge attack in our card pool, we get to change it to a high. It's going to be a 4 high 6, and then, so basically it's just the inverse of this. This was a 6 high 4, this is going to be a 4 high 6, and then we're going to be able to give it damage from there. It also has EX3 and a +1 mid block. So this, Swift Redirect and Dragon Dive are very, very similar to each other. Then we're running 2 copies of Floating Drop, 5 high 4, 0 low block with powerful 3, if we have the momentum. And then we are running 1 copy of Slice and Burn, and it combos off a high block, right? The combo down here combos off a high block, discard 2, draw 2, your rival loses 2 health. So that feels solid right there. And that's why Hellspider and Dragon Dive come in handy, is this is a 2 high block, Dragon Dive is a 1 high block, and Zero Gravity is a high block. So we have 4, 7, 8, 9 attacks to combo off with Slice and Burn. And so I'm only running it at 1 of. I only pulled 1 of this attack, but it just kind of made sense with the synergies. Now, I should note that Swift Direct needs a charge attack in your card pool, and Zero Gravity is giving your next charge damage. But we are only running, let's see, in order to make this work, I had to take out quite a bit of charge attacks. So we're running Titan Cliff, Hellspider, Dragon Dive, and Slice and Burn, all of which are not charged attacks. But between having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, we're getting half of our attacks. Right, so we have 4, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 9 out of the 19 attacks that we're running are charge. That's typically good enough. Again, you don't have to have all your attacks be charged to be able to run some charge attack synergies. We're still getting the synergies that we need. And I was very surprised how synergistic this attack lineup felt for basically only improving the Clash deck with a box. So that is going to do it for the attacks. We are running 1 action. I put in a copy of Arbor, Kamui Woods action. Just as enhance, this gets +4 damage or -3 speed, solid defense, solid offense. And it just, it has Breaker 1, which is nice. And that's going to do it for the attacks. Let's jump into the foundations. The first 3 difficulty foundation is I put in 2 copies of the new number 1. I got lucky to pull 2 of these. I think this is really, really solid defense on the Earth symbol. We're not going to be getting that second enhance because we're not a pro hero, but we do get this commit, return this attack to its printed speed. This attack gets +1 or -1 speed. We can use that on offense. We can use that on defense. I think this, if you watch my top 10 cards in Jetburn video, you'll notice that I believe this is a top 10 card at a Jetburn, an immediate add 2 of. Sorry, my camera. Let's see. Okay, we're back. All right. Then I am keeping her foundation snap out of it, commit and unflip a foundation. This is pretty necessary for this character so you don't get bogged down in face downs. I pulled one incredible display from my box, and so that was an immediate inclusion. This is also a top 10 card in Jet Burn. Commit after you block with the foundation, add it to your hand. Or if you have momentum, you can commit it and cancel a responsibility. Very, very strong. And then also another top 10 card, I believe. The Earth symbol just got so much support this set. That's part of why it was an immediate, it was just felt obvious to take this deck and put it on the Earth symbol. But we get Pageant Queen, remove, reduce this attack speed to 1. Put that down here. And then sticking with the Clash deck, this is also one of the top 10 cards in Jet Burn according to my video. So we seriously just went 4 out of the last 5 cards as top 10 cards in Jet Burn. This is quick response, destroy a foundation. This high attack gets +2 speed, and this is what was killing everybody. I am only running highs, so I'm giving everything 2 speed. And then I'm using my character, and I can give 3 speed. So basically, if I wanted to, I could give all of my attacks 5 speed in an attack string, and that's just absolutely killer. Or I could give it +2 speed, +3 damage. Hey, that's like Endeavor 3 stats, except I didn't even have to cycle. This character can do that on turn 2. This is nuts. It also has one of the best deadlock enhances in the game. Change the zone of your attack, it gets +1 speed. So if they go into deadlock, then I say, hey, you thought I was going to be running all highs? Surprise, now I run all lows. And everything's getting 3 speed now. This card is nuts. It's absolutely nuts. I honestly can't believe they printed it. People will be taking advantage of that. And then this is a foundation that I think is very, very underrated. 3 copies of Quirk Expertise. It checks a 6. Remember, we can go grab this with Titan Cliff. Commit, change this attack zone to high. It gets +2 damage. So we could use this on offense for 0 gravity to make this a high so that we could get the stats, right? But most of the time we're using this on defense. Remember how I had all those attacks with high blocks? I brought in Ryukyu's kit with this +1 high block. I brought in Ryukyu's foundation with this +1 high block. We have Hellspider with the +2 high block. Well, now we're getting to commit, make it a high, and we're getting to use our +1 high blocks. Very, very strong. That just comes from the kit. All right, I added in for my box 1 copy of Gotta Go Faster. Remove if this attack has at least double its printed speed. Add the top card of your discard pile to your hand. This was just another way to get draws off, because I can always give something 3 speed and effectively, between quick response and my character, it was very, very easy to double my printed speed. Basically, this was just saying if I ever checked an attack, I could remove it and just add it to my hand. I was just running 1 copy. It felt nice. I actually did use it once during the night at locals. It felt really, really nice. 4 copies of Resourceful. I believe this was from her Clash deck, although I did pull a XR Resourceful in my box, which I felt really happy about. It's just commit for -2 speed, and it's a 2 low block. Just generic nice defense on a spam foundation. 4 copies of Flustered. If you watched my top 10 video, this was also a top 10 card in Jet Burn, basically saying flip, draw a card, or discard 1 rival momentum. About half the time I was using it to discard momentum and not to draw. I think this card's nuts. Immediate 4 of. Next up, we have 4 copies of Weightless, and I also pulled an XR Weightless in my box, so I got to run 2 of my XRs in this deck, and it says flip ready 1 face down foundation. This card felt really, really good. We could basically flip something with our character, and then we could commit it with, what was it? For example, like Quirk Expertise and 0 gravity. I could commit Quirk Expertise, give it 2 damage, make it a high, flip this for 3 speed, flip this to ready Quirk Expertise, and then on my second attack, use my character to unflip Quirk Expertise. So basically, I used Quirk Expertise for 5 stats, and I didn't lose anything. Very, very strong. And then it just comes down to the 0 diffs. I basically entirely replaced the 0 diffs with Ryukyu's just for the 1 high block and another 6 check for Titan Cliff. But I kept in 1 copy of Warm and Bubbly just to keep the ratios nice and to keep my turn 1 builds consistent. So what I did is when I did my unboxing video like a week and a half ago, um, the next day it was locals. Saturday night is our locals for Stormcrow Games. So I took this deck and we were actually running triple threat. We had 12 players. It was honestly an absolute blast. Triple threat is probably going to be like a monthly format for our locals. But we had 12 players, and so we would do 4 pods of 3, and then each round we would shift and the winners would, all get paired into each other. And I actually went 2-1. So out of 3 triple threat pods that I did, I won 2 of them. And honestly, this character felt insane. It felt like this deck, using 1 box and 1 pre-release kit, I was able to take this character to where, gosh, I think this deck could win a provisional store championship. Like, honestly, it has really, really good defense. It has insane offense. It can turn 2 people very easily. So, if I had opened a, what's her secret rare? It's Falling Skies. Of course, if I had opened a Falling Skies, it's an immediate inclusion. But I had to use just what the box and pre-release kit gave me. And so this is the deck that I came up with. If you are a new player and you're looking to get into the game and you want to just very quickly find a solid deck to take to locals and potentially win the entire event, I highly suggest Ochaco Uraraka. I think, it is hard to know what foundation to unflip, and it's a little hard to see the lines because it's a little deceiving how complex this character can be. But that's also nice because the more you learn, you'll see different lines that you could have taken. A really, really good starter deck for anybody new to the game. I really think you can take 1 box and make this deck competitive. And that's going to do it for this deck profile. I hope you enjoyed this. And if you haven't, go sign up for the Winter Clash and this playmat can be yours.